This is First News on News Radio 1290 WNBF Binghamton and WNBF.com.
Where news breaks first. News Radio 1290 WNBF. Here's Bob Joseph.
Good morning. Forecast for today, mostly cloudy with a high of 37. Look out for tomorrow into Wednesday with a fair amount of rain heading to the Twin Tiers, also some windy conditions. Now, the complete forecast coming up. Binghamton police and other city workers showed up in Forest to lock down an apartment building that had been an ongoing source of trouble on the city's west side. For months, people who lived in the neighborhood around the property at 34 North Street had been urging the city to take action following a series of incidents. In fact, dozens of people signed a petition to get action taken at the site. Some residents who lived near the apartment building described the place as a trap house where people would use drugs and engage in other criminal activity when they weren't supposed to be there. A 58-year-old man was shot in the back at the house last July. A 19-year-old man who lived in the building told WNBF News he had been repeatedly stabbed there by someone he didn't know. City police said lockdown warnings had been issued on the property to the owners. The property records show the apartment house is owned by members of the Phelps family in the town of Binghamton. Alexander Conti, who lives near that property, said he's disgusted that the lockdown took so long. He said the number of squatters forced out of the building, 10 or more, was alarming, particularly since a lockdown notice had been issued weeks ago. A preliminary hearing on the lockdown case was held in city court late last month. Another hearing is set for later this month. Although 34 North Street has been locked down, Conti is concerned the problems associated with the building simply will crop up nearby. He said the people who had been staying illegally in the North Street house took their possessions and just moved to nearby buildings. Binghamton City Council has voted to appoint Democrat Rebecca Rathmel to serve as council member for the 6th District. Rathmel was chosen on Friday by the 6 Democrats who were elected to the 7-seat council in November. She and Republican incumbent Philip Strawn wound up with the same number of votes in the election. The action taken during a special council meeting came the day after Mayor Jared Cram announced he had appointed Strawn to represent the 6th District, which covers part of the city's south side. Cram, a Republican, and the incoming Democratic council members had not been able to reach an agreement on how the seat should be filled. During Friday evening's special meeting, 3rd District Council member Robert Kavanaugh acknowledged we're in an awkward situation in our first week as the new Binghamton City Council. He said the action being taken by lawmakers followed a plain reading of the city charter. He said the charter clearly states that city council is to appoint a new member if a vacancy occurs. Mayor Cram said the city corporation counsel's office, general counsel for the New York Conference of Mayors, and outside counsel for the city concluded the authority to make the appointment rest with the mayor under state law. Cram maintained that an unlawful appointment could lead to a costly legal dispute. Council Democrats put out a statement indicating they welcome resolution of the matter through the judicial process. Well, it was takeout time again at the iconic Spot Diner restaurant in the town of Shenango. This time, people weren't taking out food, they were taking out furnishings. People stopped by to pick up items they purchased in an auction. The eatery on Upper Front Street, just north of Binghamton, closed last October after serving Broome County residents and people traveling through the region for several decades. The restaurant owner had told WNBF News he made the painful decision to shut down the spot because of tough business conditions. Restaurant equipment, coolers, and hundreds of dining chairs were among the items sold at an online auction. Matthew Manasseh of Manasseh Auctioneers in Whitney Point said there were nearly 300 registered bidders for the sale. Those who made winning bids showed up with trucks and trailers late last week to pick up the items they bought. And if you want to see more of what was going on, including one last walk through the Old Spot Diner restaurant, we have a little video posted on our website, WNBF.com, along with a few pictures. Very interesting situation as an iconic diner fades away. Now the forecast from the National Weather Service, mostly cloudy today, high 37, cloudy tonight, low 22. Rain and snow tomorrow. It'll become all rain late in the afternoon. It'll be breezy, high 42. The outlook for Wednesday, mostly cloudy, some rain and snow showers, high 40. And right now in downtown Binghamton, it's 30 at 6:08. I'm Bob Joseph. WNBF News.
From the Galt Auto Studios, this is WNBF News Radio AM 1290. Also available at 92.1 FM. Save in a big way at Galt Chevrolet.
News Radio 1290 WNBF.
6:10, this is First News Binghamton on WNBF 92.1 FM, 1290 AM, streaming at WNBF.com. Certainly available to you using the free WNBF app. This is Bob Joseph in for Don Morgan, and it is 1 week in to 2024. Just think about it. A week ago, you were waking up, I'm sure, at 6:10 on a Monday morning saying, wait, I don't have to go to work. It's New Year's Day. Here we are. The week flew by, and who knows, 2024 may fly by almost as quickly as 2023 did. Hope your year and your week went well. Your week, hopefully, got off to a good start, and perhaps you enjoyed some special things over the weekend. Some people even celebrating Christmas on Sunday. And if you were celebrating Christmas over the weekend, hope you enjoyed that. Hope you got everything you were expecting. And maybe a few surprises as well. Coming up on First News Binghamton, a look at sports. We'll tell you about the Bills and the Giants and the Jets. Oh my. Tell you a few other things as well in our sports update coming up shortly. Also on First News Binghamton, Wall Street Now with Jim Ryan, a preview of the business week. What can we expect? Will your stock portfolio do well this week? Hopefully it'll be another strong performance for stocks this year. And also, coming up this hour, a couple of key features with Dr. Sanjay Gupta and A Better Life. Dr. Gupta points out you can't outrun a bad diet. He'll explain that. And then later this hour, around 6:53, we'll hear from Kim Commando, who has the discouraging news that even car thieves are going high-tech. Kim Commando bring us the latest from the wide world of Grand Theft Auto. What are those thieves up to now? And that will be all part of our first hour of First News Binghamton here on WNBF. Later today, just a program note, we will have our talk show, but it will start 1 hour later than usual. So instead of me coming on at 9 o'clock and taking your phone calls, I'll start taking calls at 10 this morning. Actually, our first hour this morning will be with historian Gerald Smith. So we'll get the talk show off to a great start this week, talking about some of the Binghamton area's history with Jerry Smith, and then open lines during the 11 o'clock hour. So stay with WNBF. Plenty to talk about. We've got the information you need every morning with First News Binghamton. WNBF News Time, 6:13.
Here's another I Love New York travel tip.
Strap on those ice skates. January is National Skating Month, and you'll find amazing indoor and outdoor ice skating rinks across New York State. In the capital Saratoga region, the reflecting pools in Empire State Plaza in Albany transform into a beautiful ice skating rink each winter, where you can enjoy free ice skating. In the Finger Lakes, Clinton Square Ice Rink in the heart of downtown Syracuse offers affordable skating surrounded by some of the city's oldest and most beautiful buildings. Want to feel like one of the greats of the sport? Head to the storied Olympic Village of Lake Placid in the Adirondacks and take to the ice at the renovated 1932 Jack Shea Arena. Or be amazed as you watch world-class athletes train and compete. To learn more about these and other great ice skating rinks in New York State, visit iloveny.com or dial 1-800-CALLNYS. That's 1-800-CALL-New York State. It's easy to love New York.
Where news breaks first. News Radio 1290 WNBF.
6:15, time for sports on News Radio WNBF. Buffalo Bills with a big win in Florida. Josh Allen threw a go-ahead touchdown pass to Dawson Knox midway through the fourth quarter. Bills won their fourth straight AFC East title, rallying past the Dolphins 21-14. Allen made things difficult for the Bills with 3 turnovers in Miami territory, but he came through at the end to help Buffalo earn the number 2 seed in the conference. The Bills will host 7th-seeded Pittsburgh in the wild card round next Sunday. Buffalo went 6-1 down the stretch. Miami fell to the 6th seed and will play at AFC West champion Kansas City on Saturday night. Josh Allen had a few thoughts after the game as he commented on the need to fight through turnovers to get that big victory.
Stuff to clean up that first half. Turned the ball over too many times. But what a resilient group. So proud of our guys, man. They battled their tails off. Hardy making a huge play in the game for us. And then those final couple drives, I thought it was a big relief. Coach Vrabel and the Titans, I'm a fan of those guys. They helped,
trust me,
obviously, with us in this situation.
Did
they
talk
helped
with
today, so got to thank those guys.
Happy, of course, with that big victory. Again, the final, the Bills over the Dolphins, 21-14. Elsewhere in NFL action, big wins for the New Jersey teams. Giants over Philadelphia 27-10. And the Jets beat New England 17-3. Arthur Smith has been fired by the Atlanta Falcons after completing his 3rd straight losing season. Smith inherited a rebuilding project in his first NFL head coaching job and failed to lift the Falcons from their playoff drought. The 41-year-old son of FedEx founder Fred Smith went 7-10 in each of his 3 seasons. Atlanta closed the season with a 48-17 loss at New Orleans, the 2nd consecutive lopsided defeat that sealed Smith's fate. He was hired by the Falcons in 2021 after a decade-long stint as an assistant with the Tennessee Titans, in which he moved up to offensive coordinator. Number 1, Michigan, and number 2, Washington playing for the College Football Playoff National Championship Monday night. Just about the perfect way to close the season. The matchup of the unbeaten hits all the major themes of the past 5 months, from conference realignment to the transfer portal, with Michigan coach Jim Harbaugh as the main character. Michael Penix Jr., the 6-year quarterback who revived his career by transferring to Washington, and the Huskies will try to deliver the Pac-12 its first championship since 2004 in their last football game before joining Michigan in the Big Ten. Basketball, the Nets lost to the Trailblazers in Brooklyn, 134-127. And local hockey action over the weekend. And Saturday night, Black Bears defeated the Motor City Rockers 8-1 at the arena. Next games for Binghamton coming up on Friday and Saturday. They'll play a pair in Danbury against the Hat Tricks. That's the latest in sports from News Radio WNBF 619.
WNBF.
From ABC News Wall Street, stock
were lower this morning after the major averages kicked off 2024 with a down week. Despite overall losses during the holiday-shortened week, the major averages pulled off gains Friday. The Dow added 26 points and headed into the weekend at 37,466. A busy week lies ahead for investors. Earnings results are on the way from J.P. Morgan Chase and Bank of America, as well as Delta Airlines and United Healthcare Group. Boeing faces new scrutiny after part of a door on an Alaska Airlines 737 MAX 9 blew out in flight, causing explosive decompression. The FAA is grounding the MAX 9 and ordering inspections. Alaska Airlines has canceled another 60 flights today. Watch for Nintendo to release its new Switch console this year as the gaming giant works to capitalize on the renewed popularity of characters like Zelda and Mario. Nintendo has sold 132 million Switch units since the device was launched in 2017. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
And stock futures are trending a little bit up at this point. Dow futures are up a fraction. NASDAQ futures up 6 points. WNBF News Time 6:22. Coming up next, Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
News Radio 1290 WNBF.
A Better Life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
As the saying goes, you can't outrun a bad diet. And what that means is no matter how much or how hard you work out, if you're not eating well, you're not going to be able to lose weight, keep it off, and build the lean muscle you need to stay in shape. That's because so many of the foods we eat these days are loaded with empty calories. So even if you wanted to do a long, hard workout, you probably wouldn't even have the stamina to offset what you ate. According to experts at Harvard Medical School, if you were to do these activities for 30 minutes, here's how many calories the average person would burn. Walking, about 160 calories. Running, about 330 calories. Using a stationary bike, about 300 calories. To lose 1 pound by exercising, you need to burn around 3,500 calories. Literally, that would mean hours upon hours of exercise. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
625 at WNBF, WNBF.com with Bob Joseph, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, Better Life, every weekday morning here on First News Binghamton. And if you're just waking up and saying, wait a second, where's Don Morgan? It's a good question. I don't know, but he is not scheduled to be here. I am scheduled to be here for Don Morgan this morning. He has the day off, and a good thing for him, so he can celebrate the second week of the new year. And I think that's a good thing. So I'm glad to be with you on First News Binghamton till 9, and our talk show coming up later this morning. Remember, don't be alarmed. Don't be alarmed. The talk show will start an hour later than usual. So instead of our usual start at about 9:10, we'll start the talk show at 10:10. And today, we're pleased to announce that historian Gerald Smith will be with us during the first hour. So if you have thoughts about local history, maybe questions, or maybe observations about things that have happened around here in the past, we encourage you to participate with Jerry Smith, and then open lines about any topic at all today from 11 to noon on Binghamton's only live local daily talk program right here on WNBF. What a strange story. Think about this. You're flying to wherever. I love to fly. Haven't flown in a while. I want to fly. I just haven't had any place I really need to go. And flying is fun for me. But the one thing you don't expect, just a few minutes after you take off, that there's going to be a blowout with a portion of the plane just kind of bloom, bloom. It just bloom. What happened to it? Well, it's a really good question. There's sort of a panel on the back of certain 737 MAX 9s. It could be used by some airlines as an emergency exit. In this particular configuration for Alaska Airlines, it was not needed. It was not an emergency exit, so they had what is called a door plug. And the point is, they plug the door, and that is never supposed to come open. I mean, they could potentially open it for maintenance when the plane's on the ground. It's never supposed to open in flight, but it just blew off a few minutes after the plane took off from Portland, Oregon. They made an emergency landing after a few minutes. Everybody was okay. And the video from aboard the plane shows everybody was very calm after that incident. And kudos to the flight crew, the pilots and the flight attendants, for keeping everything under control. It's definitely not something you would ever expect on your flight. WNBF News Time, 6:28.
ABC Entertainment News.
This is a national emergency.
Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer dominated the 81st Golden Globes Awards, 5 including Best Drama and Best Supporting Actor for Robert Downey Jr. Edging Barbie was the Frankenstein riff Poor Things, Best Comedy or Musical. Lily Gladstone, Best Actress in a Dramatic Film for Martin Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon. On the TV side of the globe, Succession, Best Drama Series, and Hulu's The Bear, Best Comedy.
You see, I'm something of a magician.
Wonka topped the weekend movie box office. Its domestic take is over $164 million. Second was the horror film Night Swim. Then Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, passing the $100 million mark. Star Trek fans in Cape Canaveral, Florida, for the blast-off of a new rocket carrying ashes and DNA from 70 people into space, including series creator Gene Roddenberry and cast members James Doohan, DeForest Kelley, and Nichelle Nichols. Chuck Sievertson, ABC News.
Oppenheimer. I'm not surprised that it won so many awards. It was, in my opinion, a masterpiece. I enjoyed the movie. Long. Of course, these days, so many good movies are long or longish. It was a little over 3 hours, but very impressive movie, and receiving 5 Golden Globe Awards. Well deserved. WNBF News Time, 6:29. This is First News Binghamton.
Where news breaks first. News Radio 1290 WNBF. Here's Bob Joseph.
It's 30 degrees in downtown Binghamton at 6:30. The forecast for today, mostly cloudy. Things will be calm, no real snow expected, the high 37. Things start to get interesting again tomorrow with another storm heading for the Twin Tiers, but it's mainly going to be a rain and wind event. The Israel-Hamas war has now hit the 3-month mark. Israeli government spokesman Ilan Levy telling reporters in Tel Aviv today that the IDF has significantly degraded the terror structure of Hamas and completely dismantled Hamas in northern Gaza.
We've demolished Hamas's command centers under Jabalia, Isa, and Gaza City. These were complex, multi-story mazes built underground. They are no more, and Hamas's command abilities in those regions are also no more.
Uh-oh, the race to the moon is on again. We get the story now from ABC's Derek Dennis.
Liftoff. Some 50 years after the first American mission to the moon, a new American rocket is on its own giant leap for mankind, launching overnight from Cape Canaveral, marking the first lunar launch from the U.S. since NASA's final Apollo mission. The brand new rocket, the Vulcan, is made by the private space company United Launch Alliance, hoping to jump into the commercial space tourism industry. If all goes according to plan, a small lunar landing will touch down on the moon on February 23rd.
WNBF News Time, 6:32. Who's on for the 6th District? That's the question. 2 people now have been appointed to represent the 6th District, part of Binghamton's South Side and City Council. The latest appointment is Democrat Rebecca Rathmel. She was appointed on Friday night by Council Democrats. She was elected, the 6 Democrats were elected to the 7-seat council in November. Now Rathmel and Republican incumbent Philip Strawn have both been appointed to the same seat. Strawn had been appointed by Mayor Cram on Thursday. The city council action took place during a special meeting Friday night. Mayor Cram on Thursday afternoon said he had appointed Strawn to represent the 6th District. Cram, a Republican, and the incoming Democratic council members can't agree on how the seat should be filled. During the special meeting Friday night, 3rd District Council member Robert Kavanaugh acknowledged it's an awkward situation in the first week for the new Binghamton City Council members. He said the action that was being taken by lawmakers followed what he said it was a plain reading of the city charter. He said the charter clearly states City Council should appoint a new member when there's a vacancy. Mayor Cram, on the other hand, said the Corporation Counsel's Office, General Counsel for the New York Conference of Mayors, and the Outside Counsel for the city all concluded the authority to make the appointment rests with the mayor under state law. So now the matter goes to court. Who knows when it'll be decided or how much that'll cost. WNBF News Time, 6:34. Construction work on a long-awaited park improvement project in West Endicott should get underway within the next few weeks. Broome County Executive Jason Garner said groundbreaking for the redevelopment of Griffin Park probably will occur within 30 days. Garner said the project will include renovations to the entire building that had housed the park's ice rink, which first opened about 50 years ago. County executive told WNBF News the existing roof will be replaced and new bathrooms will be installed in the structure. Garner said steps will be taken to flood-proof the building, which sits right next to the Susquehanna River. Flooding back in 2005 damaged the rink's ice-making system and contaminated the site when antifreeze leaked from the equipment. The new Griffin Park will have 6 pickleball courts, a wiffle ball stadium, an accessible playground, and a basketball court. Parking lot also will be repaved. We've got more details about the changes coming to Griffin Park on our website, WNBF.com. Weather around here will get interesting. The National Weather Service says today is going to be uneventful, but things are going to change tomorrow with the arrival of rain late in the afternoon. That rain could be heavy at times, and there also will be some fairly strong winds at times tomorrow night into Wednesday. Now the forecast from the National Weather Service: mostly cloudy today, high 37. Cloudy tonight, low 22. Tomorrow cloudy with some rain and snow. It'll become all rain by late afternoon, high 42. More rain tomorrow night into Wednesday. Wednesday, we can expect some rain showers in the morning, then a mix of rain and snow showers in the afternoon. Wednesday's high 40. Right now, it's 30 in downtown Binghamton at 6:36. I'm Bob Joseph, WNBF News.
Only 1 in 5 people with autism are employed, despite many having the skill set and desire to work.
Maybe it's because employers don't know what kind of jobs they can do. Like, what about a programmer?
That's a job for someone with autism.
How about a healthcare worker?
Yep, that is too. People with autism can do a lot of different jobs, but often get overlooked due to outdated stigmas. Introducing WIN by Autism Speaks. We help businesses lead the way in inclusive hiring.
What about a ranch hand?
To learn more, go to autismspeaks.org/win.
News Radio 1290 WNBF.
6:38, 22 before the hour. WNBF, Bob Joseph in for Don Morgan on First News Binghamton. Are you a local business planning to hire this winter and spring? Well, WNBF and Town Square Media can help you find the people you're looking for. Our radio station's planning to hold a big job fair coming up at the end of this month. It'll be on January 30th from 11 to 2 at the Broome County Regional Farmers Market. Reserve your booth now by calling Mary Beth Walsh at Town Square Media Binghamton. Number is 607-772-8400. Get all the information. 607-772-8400. The job fair, Tuesday, January 30th at the Broome County Regional Farmers Market on Upper Front Street in Binghamton. Let us, Town Square Media, help you find your next great employees with that job fair. It's 6:39 at WNBF. Coming up in a few minutes, we'll be getting another sports update. Let you know what happened on Sunday in the worlds of football and basketball. Interesting that the New York and New Jersey football teams all managed to win. Yes, you heard that right. The Bills, the Giants, and the Jets all had victories on Sunday. And the scores and more coming up in just a few minutes. Also, coming up, we'll have some business news as we start a new work week, and then at about 6:53, Kim Commando with her tech report with the stunning news that even car thieves are going high-tech. It's all coming up for you right here on News Radio 92.1 FM, 1290 AM, streaming at WNBF.com.
News Radio 1290 WNBF.
6:42 at WNBF. If you go to work every day, what would you think if the top person in your organization was on drugs? That make you feel happy? Do you want to work for someone who's on drugs? I would say most people probably would not be pleased to be working at a place where the top person seems to be using drugs. Unfortunately, for people who work at places like SpaceX and Tesla and companies like that, there are some concerns about the top person using drugs. And the Wall Street Journal has just done a story focusing on the concerns. Apparently, people don't want to talk much publicly about it. It's a very sensitive issue. Of course, Elon Musk perhaps shocked a few people when he showed up on the internet, some popular interview show, smoking weed. And I have to admit, seeing a billionaire businessman casually smoking weed while talking about his businesses, it was not something I had expected to see. But we saw it, and maybe most people thought, well, it's sort of innocuous. It's just Elon Musk smoking weed while he's talking with a guy about his businesses. But that's not the only thing, according to the Wall Street Journal. There are concerns about other drugs. So not just weed, but according to the Wall Street Journal story, people familiar with the lifestyle of Elon Musk have suggested he's used LSD, cocaine, ecstasy, and ketamine. And they say maybe that's why he has behaved the way he has. There's one notable incident where Elon Musk showed up about an hour late to a big meeting at SpaceX. They say he was rambling and slurring his words for about 15 minutes before the meeting was taken over by the president of SpaceX. Executives of the company privately worried if Mr. Musk was on drugs. Well, sensitive issue. I don't know. I don't know what they can do. And he's a billionaire. I don't think there's anything they can do unless and until he decides he might want help. 6:44. This is First News Binghamton on WNBF.
Where news breaks first. News Radio 1290 WNBF.
6:45 WNBF. Let's take a look at sports, shall we? Josh Allen threw a go-ahead touchdown pass to Dawson Knox midway through the fourth quarter, and the Bills won their fourth straight AFC East title, getting past the Dolphins 21-14 in Miami. Allen made things difficult for the Bills, though, with 3 turnovers in Miami territory during the game. Came through at the end to help Buffalo earn the number 2 seed in the conference. The Bills will host 7th-seeded Pittsburgh in the wild card round next Sunday. Buffalo went 6-1 down the stretch. Miami fell to the 6th seed and will play at AFC West champion Kansas City on Saturday night. Meanwhile, New England fans weren't happy to see the visiting Jets defeat the Patriots 17-3, and also on Sunday, the Giants had a big win at the Meadowlands as they defeated the Eagles 27-10. NBA action. Brooklyn defeated the Portland Trail Blazers. Excuse me, I got that wrong. Brooklyn lost to the Portland Trail Blazers 134-127. Rangers will be in action tonight when they host Vancouver. Also in sports, Chris Kirk continues his inspiring comeback. He opened the PGA Tour season with a victory at the Century, beating Sahith Gala by 1 shot. Kirk was tied for the lead when he hit 5-iron to 2 feet on the 17th for birdie. That allowed him to play it safe down the 18th to get par and a 65 for his 6th career victory. Kirk had to step away from golf in 2019 because of alcoholism and depression. He capped his comeback by winning the Honda Classic last year, and it looks as if he's just getting started. Another NBA note, Draymond Green returned to the practice floor in a walkthrough scenario with the Golden State Warriors 1 day after being reinstated by the NBA following a 12-game suspension. Coach Steve Kerr wasn't sure when Green might be ready to play in a game again after the prolonged time away working on himself in the wake of hitting Phoenix center Josef Nurkic in the face December 12th. Green will resume his shooting routine and other work under the direction of the medical staff. And that is the latest in sports from News Radio, WNBF News Time, 6:48. Coming up, we'll have some money news and then Kim Commando with her Monday Tech Update. It's 6:50, time for Money News right here on WNBF and First News Binghamton. European markets opened weak while Asian stocks retreated today after Wall Street logged its worst week in the past 10 on Friday. U.S. futures right now are mixed. Dow futures are down a fraction of a point. NASDAQ futures are up 6 points. This all comes after congressional leaders did reach an agreement on overall spending levels for the current fiscal year that could help avoid a partial government shutdown later this month. Oil prices are declining today, so we'll see what happens this week. Oil prices trending downward, so that's a decent note. Treasury yields initially jumped after a report showed the job market strengthened more than expected, and that raised some worries the Federal Reserve may keep interest rates high. An emergency landing by an Alaska Airlines jetliner has prompted federal authorities to ground some Boeing 737 MAX aircraft, adding another episode to the troubled history of the big MAX lineup of jets. The National Transportation Safety Board has started an investigation to try to figure out what caused a paneled over exit door to blow off during flight. The FAA has grounded Boeing MAX 9 aircraft operated by U.S. airlines or flown into the country that have the door plugs installed. Well, the MAX aircraft has been plagued with problems. None of the previous incidents are related to the blowout that caused the emergency landing at Portland, Oregon. Aviation experts say such blowouts are pretty rare. I guess that's good. WNBF News Time, 6:52. Coming up in a minute, Kim Commando talks about car thieves and what they're up to.
News Radio 1290 WNBF.
Car thieves are going high-tech all throughout the country. Instead of just picking out a car to break into at random, they're scanning cars looking for a certain wireless standard that tells them that there's expensive tech inside. I'm Kim Commando, brought to you by ExpressVPN. Secure your online data and get an extra 3 months free at expressvpn.com/Kim. Most of our electronics, from phones, AirPods, laptops, tablets to headphones, all work with Bluetooth. That's the wireless signal that lets you go hands-free. It spreads from 3 to 33 feet from the device when activated. Car thieves know this, and they're using smartphone apps or $30 Bluetooth signal finders available on Amazon to scan cars admitting any Bluetooth signals. This way, even before breaking into a car, they know if there are expensive phones, laptops, tablets, earbuds, you name it, locked inside. So here's what you need to do to not become their next victim. Keep all your electronics with you, or at least be sure to turn them off. And get tech smart every single day with my free newsletter at getkim.com. As we wrap up the year and usher in the next, it's a perfect time to reflect on what truly matters, the people we love most. This year, resolve to keep them safer than ever with Simply Safe Home Security. I trust Simply Safe in my own home, and I recommend it to everybody. Simply Safe is comprehensive protection for the whole home with advanced sensors that not only detect break-ins, but fires, floods, and other threats to your home. With new 24/7 live guard protection, monitoring agents can see, speak to, and confront intruders inside your home. Available only from Simply Safe, allowing agents to stop crime in real time. And Simply Safe's 24/7 monitoring costs less than $1 a day. That's half the price of traditional home security. So do what I do. Keep your home and family safer than ever in the brand new year. And here's the deal. Save 20% on your new system with a Fast Protect plan by visiting simplysafekim.com. You can customize your system in just a few minutes at simplysafekim.com. There's no safe like Simply Safe. That's simplysafekim.com.
Kim Commando every weekday morning right here on First News Binghamton with the latest from the tech world. Coming up next hour, around 7:53, ABC's Mike Dubosky with Tech Trends. He has some of the new information about Dell and the lineup that it's unveiling this week at the Big Tech Show. So more tech news for those who want to know what's going on in the wide world of technology. Well, most of the roads are in pretty good shape right now. We have been advised that the Wayne Highland School District will be operating on a 2-hour delay this morning. Otherwise, crews have done a fairly decent job getting rid of the snow that fell Saturday afternoon through Sunday morning. Watch out, though. There still could be some slippery spots. We think you should pay very close attention always when you're driving, especially in some of those spots where things may have frozen up overnight. WNBF News Time, 6:56.
Here's another I Love New York travel tip.
Relive and experience the thrill of Winter Olympic competition in the Adirondacks, in Lake Placid, and at Whiteface Mountain in Wilmington. At the Olympic Center in Lake Placid, see the history and experience the excitement of the Games at the Lake Placid Olympic Museum, then go ice skating on the Olympic Speed Skating Oval. At the Olympic Jumping Complex, ride the elevator to the sky deck on top of the 120-meter jump tower and see where ski jumpers launch into thin air. You can even Nordic ski at Mount Van Hovenberg, the site of Olympic, World Cup, and National Championship events. To learn more about visiting Winter Olympic sites in New York State, visit the I Love New York website at iloveny.com or dial 1-800-CALLNYS. That's 1-800-CALL-New York State. It's easy to love New York.
6:57 at WNBF First News Binghamton. I'm Bob Joseph, in for Don Morgan as we start the second week of 2024. A calm day weather-wise, but things will get a little more interesting tomorrow. A couple of notes. The National Weather Service has issued a wind advisory that'll be in effect from 3 tomorrow afternoon until 4 o'clock Wednesday morning. Gusty winds could blow around unsecured objects. Tree limbs could be blown down, and a few power outages may result. Strongest wind gust will occur in the elevated terrain and along north and west facing slopes. So again, that'll be starting tomorrow afternoon and continuing into Wednesday morning. There's also likelihood of some heavy rain across the region. Here is the official forecast from the National Weather Service. Cloudy today, high 37, mostly cloudy tonight, low 22. Tomorrow, rain and snow becoming all rain in the afternoon. It'll be breezy, high 42. Rain heavy at times tomorrow night, and then Wednesday, rain and snow showers, a high 40. Right now, it's 30 in downtown Binghamton at WNBF.
This is News Radio 1290 AM, WNBF Binghamton. Now on 92.1 FM, W221 EJ Binghamton, a town square.
Where news breaks first. News Radio 1290, WNBF. Here's Bob Joseph.
Good morning. Forecast for today, mostly cloudy with a high of 37. Look out for tomorrow into Wednesday with a fair amount of rain heading to the Twin Tiers, also some windy conditions. Now the complete forecast coming up. Binghamton police and other city workers showed up in force to lock down an apartment building that had been an ongoing source of trouble on the city's west side. For months, people who lived in the neighborhood around the property at 34 North Street had been urging the city to take action following a series of incidents. In fact, dozens of people signed a petition to get action taken at the site. Some residents who lived near the apartment building described the place as a trap house where people would use drugs and engage in other criminal activity when they weren't supposed to be there. A 58-year-old man was shot in the back at the house last July. A 19-year-old man who lived in the building told WNBF News he had been repeatedly stabbed there by someone he didn't know. City police said lockdown warnings had been issued on the property to the owners. The property records show the apartment house is owned by members of the Phelps family in the town of Binghamton. Alexander Conti, who lives near that property, said he's disgusted that the lockdown took so long. He said the number of squatters forced out of the building, 10 or more, was alarming, particularly since a lockdown notice had been issued weeks ago. A preliminary hearing on the lockdown case was held in city court late last month. Another hearing is set for later this month. Although 34 North Street has been locked down, Conti is concerned the problems associated with the building simply will crop up nearby. He said the people who had been staying illegally in the North Street house took their possessions and just moved to nearby buildings. Binghamton City Council has voted to appoint Democrat Rebecca Rathmel to serve as council member for the 6th District. Rathmel was chosen on Friday by the 6 Democrats who were elected to the 7-seat council in November. She and Republican incumbent Philip Strawn wound up with the same number of votes in the election. The action taken during a special council meeting came the day after Mayor Jared Cram announced he had appointed Strawn to represent the 6th District, which covers part of the city's south side. Cram, a Republican, and the incoming Democratic council members had not been able to reach an agreement on how the seat should be filled. During Friday evening's special meeting, 3rd District Council member Robert Kavanaugh acknowledged we're in an awkward situation in our first week as the new Binghamton City Council. He said the action being taken by lawmakers followed a plain reading of the city charter. He said the charter clearly states that city council is to appoint a new member if a vacancy occurs. Mayor Cram said the City Corporation Counsel's office, general counsel for the New York Conference of Mayors, and outside counsel for the city concluded the authority to make the appointment rest with the mayor under state law. Cram maintained that an unlawful appointment could lead to a costly legal dispute. Council Democrats put out a statement indicating they welcome resolution of the matter through the judicial process. Well, it was takeout time again at the iconic Spot Diner restaurant in the town of Shenango. This time, people weren't taking out food, they were taking out furnishings. People stopped by to pick up items they purchased in an auction. The eatery on Upper Front Street, just north of Binghamton, closed last October after serving Broome County residents and people traveling through the region for several decades. The restaurant owner had told WNBF News he made the painful decision to shut down the spot because of tough business conditions. Restaurant equipment, coolers, and hundreds of dining chairs were among the items sold at an online auction. Matthew Manasseh of Manasseh Auctioneers in Whitney Point said there were nearly 300 registered bidders for the sale. Those who made winning bids showed up with trucks and trailers late last week to pick up the items they bought. And if you want to see more of what was going on, including one last walk through the Old Spot Diner restaurant, we have a little video posted on our website, WNBF.com, along with a few pictures. Very interesting situation as an iconic diner fades away. Now the forecast from the National Weather Service, mostly cloudy today, high 37, cloudy tonight, low 22. Rain and snow tomorrow. It'll become all rain late in the afternoon. It'll be breezy, high 42. The outlook for Wednesday, mostly cloudy, some rain and snow showers, high 40. I'm Bob Joseph, WNBF News.
From the Galt Auto Studios, this is WNBF News Radio AM 1290. Also available at 92.1 FM. We sell the ultimate driving machine at Galt BMW.
WNBF.
This is First News Binghamton. It is Monday, January 8th. Seemed to me we were just celebrating New Year's Day a week ago, and here we are, 1 week into 2024. I guess the year will fly right by. It seems to happen. With increased frequency, the years just move faster and faster. Or at least that's my perception. Hope you're off to a good start on this Monday morning. Don Morgan is off today, so I'm filling in on First News Binghamton till 9 o'clock. Then we'll have the talk show. Now, the talk show is starting delayed today. Instead of starting after the 9 o'clock news, we'll begin the talk show after the 10 o'clock news. So that's it's just a program note. Never fear, you'll still be able to call in and talk about the issues that you think are notable for around the Twin Tiers or around New York and Pennsylvania or around the nation. So we will have the talk show, but today it's starting just an hour later right here on News Radio, WNBF 92.1 FM, 1290 AM, and always available on the WNBF app. And today, pleased to announce that the program will begin with historian Gerald Smith. So if you have an interest in history here in the Binghamton area, you're going to learn a few things. We always learn a few things when Jerry Smith joins us once a month. And he's now heard on the second Monday of every month. So if you're trying to plan to hear the Jerry Smith Binghamton Then segments, remember, the second Monday of the month is Jerry Smith Day here on News Radio WNBF. We will have open phone segments the following hour, so from 11 to noon, you can talk about things that are going on around here or around the world with the open phone segment. We're here for you with your talk show, Monday through Friday, right here on News Radio. Coming up this hour, a look at sports. Bills got their playoff ticket punched, so I know quite a few people who are happy about that this morning. It's been a challenging season for the Bills, but at least they're going to advance to the playoffs. Big game coming up next Sunday. So we'll talk about the Bills as well as the Giants and the Jets. A little bit of NBA action. Tell you how the Black Bears did over the weekend. And also coming up this hour, business news. Yes, another big day of business. Get the Wall Street preview from Jim Ryan with ABC. Also, political insights with Richard Cantu. And then later this hour, tech trends from ABC. Mike Dabosky will have the latest new product offerings from Dell. So plenty to talk about today on First News Binghamton. 7:12. Bob Joseph with you on WNBF.
Where news breaks first. News Radio 1290 WNBF.
7:15 sports time on WNBF. Big win for the Bills in Florida. Josh Allen threw a go-ahead touchdown pass to Dawson Knox midway through the fourth quarter. And the Buffalo Bills won their fourth straight AFC East title, getting past the Dolphins 21-14. Things, though, were tough. For the Bills, Allen made things difficult with 3 turnovers in Miami territory early in the game, but he did come through at the end to help the Bills and earn the number 2 seed in the conference. So, of course, he was happy when he had a chance to speak with reporters after the game about being able to come back to win the division.
6-6. We knew what was in front of us. Had a lot of internal talks. Trusted the guys in this locker room, and at the end of the day, this is fun. This is cool. I'll never say no to winning a division. But the only thing that it solidifies is a home game and one more game. So doesn't mean anything if we go out there next week and don't do our job. So we gotta find a way to put our best foot forward and go find a victory next week.
So now we look to next Sunday as the Bills host Pittsburgh in the wild card round. Buffalo went 6-1 down the stretch. Miami fell to the 6th seed and will play at AFC West champion Kansas City Saturday night. Also in NFL action on Sunday, Giants beat the Eagles 27-10 in East Rutherford. Meanwhile, the Jets were in New England, and they beat the Patriots 17-13. NBA action yesterday in Brooklyn. The Nets lost to the Trailblazers 134-127. NHL play tonight. The Rangers will host Vancouver. Black Bears had a win over the weekend as they easily defeated the Motor City Rockers at the arena 8-1. A couple of games coming up next weekend for the Black Bears, but they'll be on the road. They're playing a pair against the Hat Tricks in Danbury. The next home game for the Black Bears, actually a couple of home games, will be coming up the following weekend. Friday and Saturday, January 19th and 20th, as the Black Bears will host Danbury at the arena. Elsewhere in sports, Arthur Smith has been fired by the Atlanta Falcons after completing his 3rd straight losing season. Smith inherited a rebuilding project in his first NFL head coaching job and failed to lift the Falcons from their playoff drought. The 41-year-old son of FedEx founder Fred Smith went 7-10 in each of his 3 seasons. Atlanta closed the season with a 48-17 loss at New Orleans. Its second consecutive lopsided defeat that sealed the fate for Mr. Smith. He was hired by the Falcons in 2021 after a decade-long stint as an assistant with the Tennessee Titans, in which he moved up to offensive coordinator. It's the latest in sports from News Radio. WNBF News Time, 7:19. Coming up next, Wall Street Now.
News Radio 1290 WNBF.
From ABC News, Wall Street Now. Stock futures were lower this morning after the major averages kicked off 2024 with a down week. Despite overall losses during the holiday-shortened week, the major averages pulled off gains Friday. The Dow added 26 points and headed into the weekend at 37,466. A busy week lies ahead for investors. Earnings results are on the way from J.P. Morgan Chase and Bank of America, as well as Delta Airlines and United Healthcare Group. Boeing faces new scrutiny after part of a door on an Alaska Airlines 737 MAX 9 blew out in flight, causing explosive decompression. The FAA is grounding the MAX 9 and ordering inspections. Alaska Airlines has canceled another 60 flights today. Watch for Nintendo to release its new Switch console this year as the gaming giant works to capitalize on the renewed popularity of characters like Zelda and Mario. Nintendo has sold 132 million Switch units since the device was launched in 2017. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
And right now, Dow futures are down a fraction of a point. NASDAQ futures are up 6 points. Wall Street trading begins in just over 2 hours. We'll have more money news throughout the day, business updates from ABC News, and, of course, business bulletins right here on WNBF. For local business news, pay attention to our website, WNBF.com. We are monitoring what's going on with local businesses. The startups, the expansions, and sometimes even the closures. We had an update on the iconic Spot Diner restaurant on our website. In case you missed it, you can see it now. Again, WNBF.com. Spot Diner closed in October after serving who knows how many thousands of meals, maybe millions of meals, who knows. Countless meals were served there at the diner on Upper Front Street in the town of Shenango. Well, they had an auction for just about everything in the place. Nearly 300 people registered for an online auction. And then last Thursday and Friday, people were showing up to pick up their purchases. So tables and chairs and kitchen utensils and all sorts of things were being picked up. I had a chance to speak with a couple of women who are planning to start their own restaurant in Groton, and they were so excited to be able to get some equipment for their restaurant that should be starting up in the next several weeks in Groton. It sounds very interesting. I'm going to be keeping an eye on that. Who knows? Maybe I'll take a trip to Groton this spring to see the new restaurant that the women are beginning using some of the equipment that they bought at the auction at the Spot Diner. They said they were very appreciative that the owner of the Spot made available some of those great pieces of equipment. I was told by some people who won items in the auction that they were impressed by the quality of the items that were available, also the condition that so many of the items, equipment, and furnishings were kept in good shape while they were used at the Spot Diner over the years, and now they'll get a new life as a result of that auction. 7:24. This is News Radio WNBF. Coming up, Political Insights with Richard Cantu from ABC. That's coming up in 1 minute.
Here are your political insights from ABC News. President Biden goes to Charleston, South Carolina today. He'll stop at the black church where white nationalist Dylan Roof shot and killed 9 people in 2015. Malcolm Graham is brother of one of those 9.
Send a clear message to the community that we still have to continue to work towards creating an environment where hatred, racism, and discrimination in our nation doesn't exist. It's really meaningful and important that he comes.
A week from Iowa's caucuses, Donald Trump was there over the weekend targeting rivals.
Nikki Haley has been in the pocket of the open borders establishment donors for her entire career.
And he told supporters that the Civil War fought over slavery could have been negotiated.
See, there was something I think could have been negotiated, to be honest with you. I think you could have negotiated that.
Polls show Trump the clear frontrunner for the Republican nomination. And those are your political insights. Richard Cantu, ABC News.
726 at News Radio, WNBF, WNBF.com. Coming up today, our talk show lineup, 10 to noon today, with the live local talk program. Yes, you didn't mishear that. Today, the talk show will start an hour later than usual. So right after the 10 o'clock news, we'll dive in talking about history with Jerry Smith. We call the segment Binghamton Then, and you certainly are invited to listen and also participate. If you have questions about local history, we welcome those questions. We'd love to hear from you during the first hour, and we'll talk about some of the highlights of area history on the talk show. And then during the second hour from 11 to noon, we'll turn our focus to all sorts of current events, things going on locally, whether it's about Binghamton City Council, new businesses starting up, old businesses closing, and also things going on at the Capitol in Albany and the Capitol in Washington. So plenty to talk about today on the local talk program. And then throughout the day, even more talk with Dan Bongino from noon to 3, Sean Hannity from 3 to 6, and Mark Levin this evening. It's always happening for you on News Radio, WNBF. I see that Starbucks could be facing yet another push by union organizers, according to the New York Times. The company is facing some mounting pressure from union officials and activists who claim it has illegally retaliated against workers and resisted contract negotiations. So it could be a challenging year for the people running Starbucks. WNBF News Time, 7:28.
WNBF Binghamton.
Where news breaks first. News Radio 1290 WNBF. Here's Bob Joseph.
It's 30 in downtown Binghamton at 7:30. The forecast, mostly cloudy today, the high 37. Not much to expect today weather-wise, but things get interesting starting tomorrow afternoon with some snow showers, then the potential for heavy rain and breezy conditions. We'll have some more details coming up. Well, we finally did get some snow, not as much snow as some people feared. People around the Northeast were cleaning up and digging out. That was a big task for folks around here on Sunday afternoon. Some areas wound up with more than a foot of snow. One person in Mount Pocono, Pennsylvania, was busy digging out. Melody Batari said she had a method to dealing with this kind of snow.
My little battery-powered snowblower is no match for this, so I kind of have to shovel, get the snow down a little bit, and then I can snow blow it.
Here in Broome County, it appears the highest snow amount reported to the National Weather Service was in Port Crane, 9.5 inches. Union Center weighed in with 9 inches. And at the National Weather Service office, high atop Mount Ettrick in the town of Maine, that was 7.4 inches. On the low end of the scale, Vestal had about 5.5 inches, and Port Dickinson with 5 inches. In Tioga County, according to the National Weather Service, the highest snow tally they received was 8.2 inches in Spencer, 8 inches in Appalachian. In Owego, only about 5 inches of snow fell, according to the National Weather Service. Now, what's coming up? Well, National Weather Service has posted a wind advisory, which will be in effect from 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon through 4 o'clock on Wednesday morning. Winds during that period will be out of the southeast, 20 to 30 miles an hour with gusts up to 50 miles an hour. So winds will blow around unsecured objects. Tree limbs could be blown down, and a few power outages also will be possible. And while all that's happening, Weather Service is noting that there could be heavy rain at times, especially tomorrow night into Wednesday morning. Exact rainfall amounts unclear at this point. Forecasters say between 3/4 and an inch of rain would be expected tomorrow night in the Binghamton area, but some areas could receive 2 or 3 inches of rain around the northeast because of the next storm event. WNBF News Time, 7:33. It was lockdown day on Binghamton's west side, and not a moment too soon for some people who lived around the apartment building at 34 North Street. For several months, people in the neighborhood have been urging the city to take action about the place after a series of incidents. Last July, a 58-year-old man was shot in the back, and a few days before that, a 19-year-old man who lived in the building was repeatedly stabbed there by someone he didn't know. Police had said lockdown warnings had been issued to the property owners, but they evidently wouldn't take action when given an ultimatum by the city. So there was a preliminary hearing held a few days before Christmas, and a judge cleared the way for the lockdown action, which happened on Friday. Alexander Conti, who lives near the property, said he's disgusted the lockdown took so long. He said the number of squatters forced out of the building was alarming. He said there were 10 or more people still in there on Friday. He said he thinks that the problem simply is going to be moved to another spot in the neighborhood. He said the people who had been staying illegally in the building at 34 North Street simply took their possessions and moved to other nearby buildings, so there may be more problems still to come. State police say a bus rollover crash in Lake George left one person dead and about a dozen people injured. 23 people were on board the bus that was traveling south from Montreal when it crashed on the Adirondack Northway. It happened just before 1 o'clock Friday afternoon. The bus was heading to New York City. Police say one person died. One passenger was taken by helicopter to Albany Medical Center in critical condition. A dozen other passengers were taken to Glens Falls Hospital with minor injuries. Now the forecast from the National Weather Service. Today, not too bad for early January, mostly cloudy with a high of 37. Tonight, cloudy, low 22. Tomorrow, interesting weather, starting off cloudy with some rain and snow, becoming all rain by late in the afternoon, high 42. It'll be breezy. Winds could gust as high as 36 miles an hour. Rain heavy at times tomorrow night. A few showers early Wednesday. Wednesday afternoon, rain and snow showers with a high of 40. Right now, it's 30 in downtown Binghamton at 7:36. I'm Bob Joseph, WNBF News.
WNBF.
7:39 at WNBF and WNBF.com. It appears the federal government will not be shutting down this month. The United States government operates in a rather strange way. We seem to lurch from one potential crisis to the next in terms of having the budget and money in place to keep the government running. And there was a chance that the federal government would shut down, or at least there would be a partial shutdown in a couple of weeks. But on Sunday, Senate and House leaders did say they have reached an overarching agreement on government funding for this year. At this point, we'll say it looks promising that they won't shut the government down. There's no guarantee. It's just a framework, and the details will still have to be hammered out. The agreement, according to the New York Times, includes an increase in Pentagon spending to about $886 billion, and non-defense funding will be held pretty much flat at $772 billion. So think about that. This year, the spending just for the Pentagon would be $886 billion. Spending for everything else, that's non-defense spending, would be more than $100 billion less. So that is what they're talking about. We'll get more details, I'm sure, over the next few days. We'll see whether they can actually reach a final agreement to keep the federal government operating. Not really sure why we don't have a system in place, so we don't have these issues coming up every several months where there's a threat that the government could shut down. Doesn't really seem like the best way to run a railroad or a major government. 7:41 here at News Radio, WNBF. Coming up, we'll have a look at sports, football, basketball, hockey, and also money news and a tech trend update. ABC's Tech Trends will give us some information about what Dell is rolling out, their new product lineup. Mike Dabosky will have details about Dell's new lineup, and his report come up at about 7:53 here on First News Binghamton. This is Bob Joseph in for Don Morgan on your Monday morning. It's January 8th, 30 degrees in downtown Binghamton today. Should be a decent day with cloudy skies and a high of 37. WNBF News Time, 7:42.
News Radio 1290 WNBF.
7:44 at WNBF, WNBF.com. And if you have been interested in the lockdown process here in Binghamton, a lot of people in various Binghamton neighborhoods are interested in getting some problem properties fixed. Well, a new lockdown development has happened, and you can see the details on our website, WNBF.com. Actually have some photos. The police department, along with the DPW, looks like they brought in a big trash truck, and even the Parks and Recreation Department stopped by 34 North Street at about 11 o'clock on Friday morning. If you want to see what was going on, the pictures help tell the tale of a lockdown of a 3-story apartment building. This has been nothing but trouble for at least several months, maybe longer. We know a guy got shot in the back and another guy was stabbed repeatedly. There's been all sorts of drug arrests. Police would show up there on a fairly regular basis to execute warrants. They had arrest warrants for people. If they were looking for people who were wanted, that was one of the places they would check out, 34 North Street. Well, now people have been kicked out. Apparently about 10 people who were in there on Friday morning were ordered to leave, and maybe finally there will be some steps taken to fix up that property and deal with that neighborhood nuisance. 7:45. This is First News Binghamton. WNBF Sports. And good news, if you are friends with someone who likes the Buffalo Bills, they're probably pretty happy this morning with a big win last night in Miami. Josh Allen threw a go-ahead touchdown pass to Dawson Knox midway through the fourth quarter, and the Bills won their 4th straight AFC East title. They got past the Dolphins 21-14. After the game, Josh Allen talked about fighting through turnovers to win the big contest.
Stuff to clean up that first half. Turned the ball over too many times. But what a resilient group. So proud of our guys, man. They battled their tails off. Hardy making a huge play in the game for us. And then those final couple drives, I feel like we found a groove on the offensive side of the ball. I feel like the ball was coming out of my hands the best all year. So that's that's a good thing. But again, just got to be smarter with the ball.
All right. Yeah, you got to be smarter with the ball. Many points. It didn't look very hopeful for Bills fans, but at least in the end, Buffalo prevailed. Again, the final was 21-14, so the Bills will host 7th-seeded Pittsburgh in the wild card round on Sunday. Also in NFL action, Jets beat New England 17-3, and the Giants handled Philadelphia 27-10. NBA action on Sunday. Portland defeated the Nets in Brooklyn 134-127. Rangers fans will be paying attention tonight as the Rangers will host Vancouver. And for local hockey fans, the Black Bears defeated the Motor City Rockers 8-1 Saturday night at the arena. That's the latest in sports from News Radio. WNBF News Time, 7:48. Coming up next, Money News.
News Radio 1290 WNBF.
7:50, Money News. An emergency landing by an Alaska Airlines jetliner has prompted federal authorities to ground some Boeing 737 MAX aircraft. And here's another problem for Boeing. They've had nothing but trouble with their MAX lineup over the last few years. The NTSB has started an investigation that could take months to focus on the paneled-over exit door that blew off Friday night. Nobody was hurt, but a lot of people on that plane were quite scared. European markets opened weak while Asian stocks retreated today after Wall Street logged its worst week in the past 10 on Friday. U.S. futures today are mixed. Dow futures are up a fraction of a point. They had been down up until about an hour ago. NASDAQ futures are up 6. Treasury yields initially jumped after a report showed the job market strengthened more than expected. That raised worries that Federal Reserve may keep interest rates high. So we'll see what happens. WNBF News Time, 7:52. Coming up, we'll hear from Mike Dubosky with Tech Trends from ABC.
From ABC News Tech Trends, CES kicks off this week, but Dell has already gotten a jump on things by showing off some new XPS laptops.
XPS has been Dell's premium ultra portables for over a decade now.
Engadget senior editor Devindra Hardawar says Dell is bringing the minimalist design of last year's XPS 13 Plus to now 14 and 17-inch models, which means
there is no defined area for the touchpad. It's just all kind of like one smooth thing. When you actually feel it and click around, you can actually feel a touchpad there. It's using haptic technology.
Hardawar says Dell's also gone to work under the hood,
because these are running Intel's new Core Ultra processors, which have an NPU in them. Those are neural processing units for handling AI tasks.
But the new XPSs are pricier, now starting at $1,300.
And I do think because of this new design, Dell's kind of using it as an excuse to just raise that price bar.
With Tech Trends, I'm Mike Dubosky, ABC News.
Gee, I can't believe a company would use anything as another excuse to raise prices. Wait a second, that's all they've been doing over the last 2 years. Whether it's computers or soda. I think we should raise the price. Forecast from the National Weather Service today, cloudy, 37. Tonight, mostly cloudy, 22. Tomorrow, rain and snow, turning to all snow by late in the day. It'll be breezy, 42. Then rain heavy at times tomorrow night into Wednesday. Wednesday, rain showers in the morning, then some snow showers in the afternoon. Wednesday's high 40. Right now, it's 31 in downtown Binghamton at News Radio WNBF.
News Radio 1290 WNBF.
7:57 at WNBF. Coming up this evening from 6 to 7, Roger Neal on the air with the Bearcats Coaches Show. It returns to Food and Fire on Harry L. Drive in Johnson City. Gee, I just stopped in there the other day. Tasty wings. tasty burgers, tasty everything. Anyway, they'll be live at Food and Fire, Johnson City. Listen for Roger Neal tonight from 6 to 7 with the Bearcats Coaches Show right here on News Radio, WNBF 92.1 FM, 1290 AM. Live radio, bringing you local sports, local news, local weather, local business. I'd say nobody does it better. Bob Joseph in for Don Morgan on First News Binghamton on your Monday morning. WNBF News Time, 7:58.
This is News Radio 1290 AM, WNBF Binghamton. Now on 92.1 FM, W221 EJ Binghamton, a Town Square Media.